Okay, I'll just tell you two things. When I was expelled from Iran once, to give you an idea of how subtle they are. I was expelled for, and this was in an official fax, telex actually, in those days, a telex telling me that I saw the glass half empty when in fact it was half full. It was the official reason that I was expelled.
So what did you interpret from this?
That they are trapped in their own word games. It's a meaningless statement. And the second thing is, when I was interviewing an Ayatollah in Shiraz, in the middle of Iran, I was
interviewing who?
An Ayatollah.
Khomeini.
No, an Ayatollah in Shiraz, a town in the middle of Iran, and he was telling me all about why he thought that there should be an alliance between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States. And his arguments were extremely good. They needed to work together against the Taliban. They needed to. They had all kinds of joint interests around the globe, around the region, if they would only cooperate against drugs, for instance. So, as I said, well, if this is the case and you want to be friends in America, why do you have as your main slogan at Friday prayers, "Mag, Ambika, death, death to America"? It doesn't seem to be very friendly. And he said, "Oh, don't worry about that. That's just words."
Well, he's right. I mean, we're only words.
Yeah, but sometimes words have a meaning. Death to America. It's sort of only one real way of interpreting it on paper. What I would say is, yes, as a Turkish person, or someone in the Turkish context, you would get the idea that these are just words. But an American sees death to America. What? No, death to you. And take that. Yeah.
So while there are a lot of exchange rates between Iran and Western countries, Turkey is more a compromise than Iran. So how does this affect Turkey's relationship with Western countries?
Badly when the Western countries don't want it. And we saw that in 2010. And currently, it's appreciated. People think that Turkey maybe can get messages to and from Iran, and Turkey's standing. I think people have understood that Turkey is not the ally of Iran. Whereas 2 years ago, especially Israel had managed to convince American opinion that somehow Turkey and Iran were allies, which has never been the case, and I don't think will ever be. Another kind.
Well, we can put this question together. So the head of the Iranian oil company threatened the Western countries, saying, undoubtedly, if the hostile actions of certain European countries continue, oil exports to these countries will be stopped. The oil that Iran exports is very important to Italy, Spain, and Greece, but not that very important to England and Germany. So do you think that in the case of war between Western countries and Iran, will Italy, Spain, and Greece be able to list the oil they're getting from Iran to support the other Western countries? Or how do you think the U.S. possible ban on oil from France and Britain will shift the alliances of the West?
I'm not very sure of the answer to that question. For sure, it looked like the rich northern European countries were doing something that made them feel better at the expense of the poor southern European countries. And I would have thought that rather upset the southern European countries who don't really feel why they should put sanctions on Iran just because Israel wants them to. So I would think that it's a factor of stress in the long term, but in the short term there's an amazing sense of pride in the international community for the unity of these sanctions, because the world is in a mess right now. But at least everyone managed to agree on sanctions on Iran. But how long that can continue? I mean, typically these sanctions things tend to get frayed after a while, because Iran will find a way to get around these things, I suppose.
Can I ask something quick about this too? About the question that she just asked. Do you think that countries like Spain and Greece, where oil is like, as in like Britain, the oil coming from Iran isn't really a big deal for them, while in countries like Spain and Greece, it's like they're one of their prime sources of oil, and without it, the country would be in a bad situation. So do you think that they could risk the alliances of the West by not sanctioning them?
Sorry, I didn't follow the question.
So as in, the oil coming from Iran to Europe, not that much important to the rich bloc like Germany and Britain, but it's actually quite a bit important to the countries like Greece and Spain, the PIGS countries. So do you think that they could risk their alliance with the European Union?
No, they'll cling to the European. Don't worry. Big mama.
Okay, Güvenç.
Güvenç.
My question is again on Iran.
I wish I'd taken your coffee now.
We can get it.
On March 6th, news by Reuters said in March 2012, Iran reversed its previous position and gave permission to inspect the site at Parchin, a place where the IAEA claims high explosives research pertinent to nuclear weapons has taken place. What do you think was the insight that caused Iran to give such a decision after his years of resistance to disclose their research fields to other countries?
They're under huge pressure. Iran. They've got to get back on track. They've never seen such a united front against them. And if you want to understand why there is this united front, just look at the November 2011 IAEA report, which lists why the West is suspicious of Iran. Now, I would love it if Iran could convince us that it had done none of these tests on weapons. But if you read that, you kind of believe it is. And Iran has always been denying, no, I didn't know, I didn't. So it's going to be embarrassing when they say, yeah, okay, all right, we did it, sorry. And then the West has to say, okay, we accept your apology, now that matter is closed, don't do it again. And Parchin is one of those things where the West wants an explanation. They've been there before, they found nothing. And presumably Iran feels that they will find nothing now.
Again,
but it doesn't want to let them in all over the country until it's got something in return, which in Iran's mind is normalization. They don't want to give up, they don't want to sort of open up all their secrets until they have some really credible assurance that they're going to make it safe home to a normal functioning.